Hey guys, Christy here from DaSilva Life. I'm the CEO and founder of DaSilva Life and Systems School, also a verified ClickUp consultant. So if you are new around here, make sure to subscribe to our channel because we love talking about all the existing and upcoming features of ClickUp. In today's video, I'm just gonna focus on the new feature rollout of conditional logic in forms. What does this even mean? It means that if someone selects a certain option in the form, you can then trigger specific questions based on their previous answer. This is really great if you think of things like bug submissions, maybe a marketing request form. There are so many different ways you can use this. I'm gonna highlight a few in the tutorial in just a second, but it really is bringing forms to the next level. So with that, let's dive in. In this video, I'm going to go through a new feature with the ClickUp 3.0 rollout, which is conditional logic in forms. So before we dive into the nitty-gritty details of this, what is conditional logic in forms? So basically, it's where when you have a form question that depending on the response, you can then prompt other questions. So for example, say this is a marketing request form and the asset that I'm requesting is a social media post. Well, you can see that now since I chose social media post, it asked me to upload the brand guide. You can use this for so many different use cases. Think of things like IT requests, any request departmentally, bug submissions. There are so many different ways that you can utilize this, but today I want to go through how to actually set up this feature. Now note as well, this is not currently available on every single plan. So if you don't see this option, you'll have to go ahead and check if you're on the plan that includes conditional logic in forms. Okay. So let's go into setting this up. If I come back into editing in this form, first of all, just a little bit of ClickUp Forms 101. If you're adding a form to a list, you're going to add the view and click Form. Once you add it, now is where you can customize this. Now, anytime you share this form, this is actually a public link. They don't have to be a ClickUp member to use this form and fill it out. There you can see this one is blank. Let me pull the other one and come here, copy link. Then once the person submits this form, then it will funnel the responses into the list the form is attached to. And yes, you can have multiple forms per list. They will all funnel into the same list. But now with conditional logic, there may not be a need to have multiple forms on one list. Okay, so once you create the form, let's actually create this one from scratch. Then you're going to name this. Let's call this one Marketing Asset Request Form. Then in the description, you can go ahead and add a description. Let's see, did I have one in here? I didn't. Okay, so let's say, please submit your marketing asset request below. Note, it takes 2 to 3 weeks to process your request. You could put whatever you want here. Also, you can format this, you can add hyperlinks, do a bunch of really cool things to this description of the form. Okay, then let's talk about a couple different other just Form 101. Say you want the form name to come in as the client name. Well then, not client name, team member name, whatever it may be. Then you're gonna drag this task name in here and then rename it. So here I'll put first and last name. And then you can see these other fields that you can pull them in, and you could say project description. This will pull into the task description. Okay, so those are the main fields. Now let's talk about the actual questions, the custom fields. So when you're creating this logic, right, you want to think of all the questions that you have to ask for this form. So you're going to have some that will just be linked to specific responses, and then some that may be required for all form submissions. So for example, asset request. So what I did here was I added a drop-down custom field. I called it asset request, and then I named it pitch deck, social media post, etc. I added colors, and then I created that already. So once you create that drop-down field, then you can pull this in here. So now you can see this is going to be the custom field asset request, but you can also change the name of this, okay, which I'll show you in a second. This I actually want to show up as asset request. So say you also want to know if there are any other things that they want to add about this submission, right? Then I'm going to pull in this notes custom field. So I added a long text custom field, and I pull it in here, and I wrote, is there anything else you want? Now you can see that that's how it's going to show on the actual form, but it didn't change the custom field name. If you wanted to change the custom field name, you can always go into edit field and then change it there. But you want to make sure that you're adding the fields as the name that you want it to come into. So project notes, asset request, brand guide, etc. And then you pull it into the form and then add the question. Okay, so that was a little bit of Form 101 just before diving into logic in case you're brand new to ClickUp Forms. So now let's go through the actual logic aspect. So say for asset request, depending on which asset they're requesting, you want to have a specific question that uploads, right, or that appears. Then you're going to put logic on for this. Now, another note, logic is only available for custom fields where you make selections. So think drop down is select one, label is select multiple, checkbox is like a yes or no. So those are currently the ones drop down, label, or checkbox where you can add this logic to. So if I turn on logic for this specific question, then you could say, okay, it's if-then statements. If the response is blank, if it is not blank, if it is set or if it is not set. Now you can think of all the different scenarios where you can use these. I'll just create two specific ones. So what I've done before putting on this logic is I created two custom fields, a long text called pitch deck description, and then a file field called brand guide. So say the response is pitch deck. Then I want to show the question pitch deck description. So either you could leave it like that or you can change to say, please describe what you want included in your pitch deck. Enter. Okay, so that will be the pitch deck description. Let's add another rule. You could also add multiple fields here, but let's add another rule. Say the response is social media post. Then let's have them upload the brand guide. And I'll say, please upload your brand guide below. And you can also make these required or not required. So you could keep doing that. Say you had another description here, you wanted to populate two fields, you can absolutely do that. So another note here before I show you how this actually works, I hope that all made sense, is that if you're doing things like labels, so labels is select multiple, you have to create these rules for every scenario. So say this was, I want a pitch deck and I want a social media post. Then you would have to create those rules for, say it's just a pitch deck, do this. Say it's just a social media post, do this. Say it's pitch deck and social media post, then do this. So just be aware of that if you're finding some bugs, it may be the way that your logic is set up. You want to account for every single scenario. So for example, if I put logo, I didn't add that to if the response is logo. So nothing else would happen here. So if you want to add more questions for logo, then you can do that. Or you could even say, if response is logo, then add brand guide. Please upload your brand guide below, right? And then remember, if it's outside of the logic, that means it'll be present for every single submission, every single response. Okay, so that's how you set up the logic. Now let's give this a test run. So I'm going to copy this link, I'm going to paste it in my tab, and now I'm going to submit. Christy DaSilva. Project description, I need a pitch deck, I need a social media post to promote ClickUp 3.0 features. Then asset request, let's do social media post. You see how the brand guide popped up. If I did pitch deck, you'll see what do you want described for your pitch deck. So let's do social media post, and I'm going to browse and find my brand guide. Okay, so let's pretend this is my brand guide, and then I will add that there. Is there anything else you want us to know? Then you could say, I need this by May 31st, and then submit. So once that is submitted, then you'll see this comes into the list with all of the information, right? So pitch deck description will be blank because it didn't give me the pitch deck description field. And you'll be able to see in here all of the responses. The I need a social media post came into the task description like we set it up. The custom fields are filled out. And so that is it for conditional logic. Just a couple other ideas to throw out for you. You can create automations in here that when new forms are submitted, that it reassigns the person with a due date of a couple days later who's responsible for reviewing it. You can create statuses like new form submission, approved, denied, complete, and then email the person that submitted it when their request was approved, denied, completed, etc. And how you would do that, you can add an email field into the form and then create email automations. So I know that's not totally related to logic, but just to get your wheels turning, those are just some ideas that you can really make these forms and the way you set up your workflow really smooth for yourself and for your team. So that is a new release of a ClickUp 3.0 feature that I'm super excited about, conditional logic in forms.
So I hope that video was helpful for you in giving you a little bit more information on conditional logic in forms, the new amazing features coming out with ClickUp 3.0. If you have any other things you want us to highlight on our channel in an upcoming video about ClickUp in general or the 3.0 rollout, make sure to drop a comment below. Also, we love talking about the updates, how to use them in our live sessions, and updating our courses in System School. System School is where we have an entire ClickUp course and template vault with 40+ plug-and-play templates to really fast-track your ClickUp success. I'll make sure to link it in the description below if you're interested in checking it out. If you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel because there are going to be a lot more ClickUp videos coming down the pipeline. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.